You are Locked On Phillies Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, okay. So, Tyreek Hill got arrested. The NFL happened. It's going on right now. The Eagles are 1-0. Geez. Anything else happen over the last couple of days here? I can't think of anything that has happened. The Phillies forgot how to play baseball. The Phillies forgot how to play baseball. They were like really good at baseball there for a while. And then there was like the last two games where they get outscored 19-6 because that's a boatload of fun. That's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? They have a couple of guys just get called up out of nowhere because of sudden injuries, guys being placed on the IL, and all of a sudden guys that aren't on the like a Bryce Harper, for instance, is supposed to go on the IL, but he just keeps on playing and he keeps on hitting. Give him credit for that, but everything else is pretty terrible. Doesn't run out a fly ball. That's a good time. Yeah, he had 2 hits today. He's the only one with multi-hit game there for the Phillies. But, of course, Phillies go out there against the Marlins tonight. This afternoon, I should say, you have the Major League debut of Seth Johnson. He took a beating in this particular game. Unfortunately for him, we'll go over that. We'll go over just the frustrating things. And you know what? Only a psychopath, right? Only a complete psycho would go through a team that's been one of the best in baseball, despite the huge month and a half where they just kind of took off in a negative way, where they took off. They took it off like they weren't playing. Only a complete psycho would look at that team and just go, hey, you know what? Let's just still talk about the things that really piss me off about this team. And that's what I'm going to do today, because I am losing my mind over the way the Phillies have played baseball over the last 2 games. 16 runs on Friday night, and then a total of 6 runs in the next 2 games, including 1 run that really shouldn't even count when you think about it, because it was the 9th inning. And, well, I don't even think the Marlins cared anymore at that point, similar to the Phillies not caring for 9 innings worth of baseball today. It was pretty terrible. And, when you have a rookie making his big league debut, I mean, to even call him a rookie is, kind. But when he's making his big league debut in September, simply because you need a starter more so than he's really risen through the ranks well, and he's amazing, and he really deserves to get a start in Seth Johnson. You think the bats would be there for him? Think the bats would want to pick up for him? And I know Edward Cabrera goes out there and he does a hell of a job against the Phillies in this particular game. No hits him into the 6th inning before Brandon Marsh got the first hit of the ball game there for the Phils. It was rough. To say the absolute least, it was rough to watch this game. If there's any other topics you'd like to discuss in the chat, feel free to hit me up about anything. I like to talk about the Roman Empire. I'm a big Roman Empire guy, and there's a recent social media trend talking about the Roman Empire, so I could get into that. If you guys want to talk about the Eagles, maybe we'll do that too. Because if the Phillies are choosing to not address what they need to address as a ball club, maybe I just won't address the Phillies on the Phillies Postcast here on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. It is lovely, though, to have you along for the ride. I do appreciate you guys joining me. We are available wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. We are free as well. And thank you for making Locked On Phillies Postcast your first listen every day. This particular episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to get started. Let's start it off with 3 big things, as we do each and every Phillies Postcast. Here you go. In no particular order, let's start it off by talking about Seth Johnson, okay? So I took the liberty yesterday, if you guys remember, Seth Johnson's starts in the minor league system for the Philadelphia Phillies through Reading and Lehigh Valley. 5 starts in total. That's what he had. He was 0-1 in Reading with a 3.52 ERA. And then in 16 innings over 3 starts for the Iron Pigs, he went 2-0 with a .56 ERA. And even more impressive, a .69 whip. So then he moseys on up to the big leagues, the soon-to-be 26-year-old righty who was acquired in the Gregory Soto trade, as I know they alluded to throughout the game today, and he gets shelled. There's no other way to look at it, and I am not condemning his entire career. I am talking about a horrendous big league debut for Seth Johnson. 2 1/3, 9 runs, 8 hits, 3 walks, home run, and also uses 58 pitches to get through, to be dragged through 2 1/3 innings. And I was really hoping Rob Thomson wasn't going to have him go out there for the 3rd inning, but Rob Thomson had him go out there for the 3rd inning, crossing his fingers that he could get something out of this poor kid. And the 3rd inning was not very kind to him either. Again, pulled. A part of 7 runs were scored as part of that 3rd inning there against the Philadelphia Phillies. It was pretty abysmal. When you look at just what he had going on for himself today, Edwards, he walked on a 3-2 count in the 1st inning. Norby did against him what he has done against the Phillies, which is hit home runs, hit a home run on a 1-2 slider that just slid right over the middle of the plate, about the knee high, and Norby went down and just tattooed it 418 feet to left center field for a 2-0 lead in favor of the Marlins. Then he gets Berger to fly out on a 3-2 ball. All right, good job by him. Maybe we get out of this. Maybe we see our way out. Get your first out of the inning. All right there, fella. First big league out. Way to go. Sanchez, he continues to hit in this series. Then he walks Bride. You have first and second with 1 out. You have a mound conference. Caleb Cotham comes out. 23 pitches to that point. And then after the mound conference, just 4 pitches. So whatever Caleb Cotham said, it worked really well. He finishes the inning with 27 pitches thrown. He got Lopez to fly out to center field on one pitch, then got Griffin Conine to ground out to first. So, all right, 4 pitches after the mound conference. Maybe he's going to settle in. 2 runs in a major league debut. Not terrible there, fella. Seth Johnson comes out after a 1-2-3 second inning for the Phillies. Faces Sanoa there to start things off there in the second inning. Gives up a double to center. Then Fortes goes up there. He grounds out to first. I would say got 1 out, runner in scoring position. Maybe get out of this. Sanoa then reaches third on the ground out. Edwards steps up there, gets the sac fly RBI to left. Can't catch a break, Seth Johnson, unfortunately. Another run scores, and then he gets Norby to foul out to first. Old Cody Clemens over there at first base in foul territory, making the out. All right, but you know what? He limits the damage to 1 run after a leadoff double. It's 3-0. You're still like, all right, you know what? Settle in, son. Settle in. You'll be fine. Settle in. He gets the first out of the first out of the 3rd inning after the Phillies go down again, 1-2-3 in the top of the 3rd inning. Berger grounds out to second. Great stab by Weston Wilson. How about Weston Wilson at the hot corner? A little backhand stab. Not too shabby there, Weston Wilson. And then Sanchez, he walks Sanchez. He was up in that count 1-2 and lost him. Then Bride gets the single on a check swing single to right field because nothing is going to go his way. The kid, Seth Johnson, of course. Lopez goes up there and he gets the RBI single to left center field. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive RBI base knocks for the Miami Marlins. It goes from a 3-0 game to an 8-0 game. And they decide that's enough of Seth Johnson. Way to go, kid. You have some things to work on. I feel terrible for the guy. I do. I don't mean to rail on him. I'm just looking at what he was doing in his 2 1/3 innings of work. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 base hits. 4 of them go to drive-in runs. 4 of them for the RBIs there in the 3rd inning, where he was facing guys, unable to get an out. After getting the first out, of course, at the end, he couldn't pull himself out of the way. And I thought maybe when he faced Sanchez and he got up in that count 1-2 before he lost him, that maybe he'd settle in. Maybe you're going to get a nice little start. Maybe the bats wake up and you win this game 5-3. Maybe you win this game 6-4 or something like that. You know what I mean? And you know what ended up happening? Lazar was also terrible. And he gave up a 2-run home run to Norby, a second home run of the game. That one was on a hanging curveball that was it looked like it was out of a curveball machine, just right down the middle of the plate, hanging up there, 401 feet to left center field. And then it was a 10-0 game. And Fortunately, that was the end of the scoring for the Marlins. The worst part about it was that the Phillies scoring never really started until the ninth inning where they got that one run. So Seth Johnson, a rough go of it. We got things to work on. We're going to take this, we're going to call this a teaching moment, Seth Johnson. So the next time you're out there, you don't get beat up as bad. That's all. That's all I'm saying, Seth Johnson. All right. See you next time. Okay. Remember earlier when I was referring to being a psycho, right? Okay. So I'm looking at this game tonight, this afternoon. I'm looking at this game and I'm watching Bryce Harper and I'm watching that Kyle Schwarber fellow. Okay. And I know that the Phillies have some guys they're missing in Mundo Sosa. Now he's on the IL. Now you got with back spasms. Now you got to Alec Boehm also on the IL. I think we all agree, despite the fact that Bryce Harper is hitting well, just not for power, that he should be on the IL, but is not. JT Realmuto's a little banged up as well. Garrett Stubbs wasn't even catching today. Rafael Marchand's dealing with an injury, so you can't call him up. So you bring Garcia up to be behind the plate for you. Okay. There's a lot missing for the Phillies. Okay. So if Kyle Schwarber is going to get on base in the fourth inning with a leadoff walk and Trey Turner lines out to second base, I would like at least, this is where I get psycho. Okay, this is where I get completely psychotic. Kyle Schwarber is probably going to be like the player of the week in baseball, okay, in the National League. The offensive player of the week, right? Kyle Schwarber gets doubled off first base, makes no attempt to get back to first base. Makes no attempt whatsoever. And I love Kyle Schwarber, but that's Bush. In a game like this, where you feel like it's a getaway day, even though you don't have the off day tomorrow, you're starting the 3-game series against the Rays. So I know it's tough when you're down 10-0 already, but there's a lot of baseball to be played. And you still got some bullpen arms that are going to come in there and hopefully get the job done. Didn't show with Max Lazar, unfortunately, but maybe you see it the rest of the way. And Kyle Schwarber gets doubled off on that liner to second base. And here's the thing that also really pissed me off about it. Otto Lopez at second base had trouble digging the ball out of his mitt. Now, Schwarber probably is out anyway. Like, let's call it what it is. He's probably out anyway. But I'm talking about a lackadaisical effort from this Phillies team dating back to last night and looking at today's game. Lackadaisical effort for the Philadelphia Phillies throughout these last 2 games. That's the way I look at it. And Aaron Nola last night looked terrible. Aaron Nola did not look good. We talked about 101 pitches through 4 2/3. He was laboring, to say the least. And then the guys behind him, Trey Turner, for instance, when the bullpen came into the game, he wasn't doing him any favors with the way he played. Just not heads up, not hustling type of baseball against the Miami Marlins. Like half an effort, and you should be able to sweep this series. And I know the other team's paid too, blah, blah, blah. But the Phillies were, I thought, going to go into this series and make a statement. Instead, the Phillies did what they have usually done against the Marlins, which is play down to their opponent. And I know the Marlins, they got guys playing for jobs and big league careers and all that stuff. But like, that was just the only way I could really think about it. I really could describe it, especially today's game, piss poor. Like Aaron Nola is going to have a dud every once in a while. That's going to happen. But to have this series out there against a guy in Cabrera who you have tattooed earlier in the year and to struggle the way this lineup did, to not even hustle on that play for Kyle Schwarber is Bush. And then Bryce Harper. God bless him. God bless him, okay? He's playing with maybe one elbow. I know the other one is like deteriorated at this point, but for whatever reason, they're just still trotting him out there. But anyway, Bryce Harper goes up there today. And physically, in the first at bat of the game, you see him not even just wince, but like have to bail out. He offers at a low and away slider, I think it was. And he offers at it, swings through, and can barely even complete the swing. And I know he still comes up with 2 hits in the game, fine. But he can barely complete the swing. And you see him just like kind of grab his elbow and wince and like, oh, God, it's the pain. It's like, this guy's still playing? I know he got other guys banged up, and I'm sure he's taking on the responsibility. He's got to be out there. But, man, the power with the power with Bryce Harper is a huge part of his game. And I love the fact that he's hitting, what did they say? I think 350 today over his last 2 weeks. He's incredible. It's great. It's grand. But the power is also what really helps him bring it. And that is really worrisome to me. In 3 different swings on this 6-game road trip, you have just seen him look terrible. Absolutely terrible. Health-wise, I'm glad the production's there as far as getting on base and just hitting the baseball, not for power, but it's there. I'm just concerned about his overall health and how long he can keep this up with the playoffs right around the corner. But anyway, I digress. So Bryce Harper in that first inning, little concerns. Then after Schwarber's mess up there in the third inning, Bryce Harper gets an opportunity to do something to help this ball club out. And he actually hits a long fly ball, deep right field, absolutely tattooed it in the seventh inning. This is after Buddy Kennedy made his Phillies debut. We'll get to that. Bryce Harper goes up there, drives one to deep right field, and it bounces off the top of the wall and comes back into play. Harper is admiring it as he moseys on down the first base line. I should say on up the first base line. And he's watching, and he's watching, and he's watching, and he's still watching, and he's watching, and he's still watching, and now he's still admiring, and he thinks it's gone. It's not gone. Then he has to bust it to second base. Now, here's the deal. The guy's playing through injury, and I don't believe in passes, but I do believe in acknowledging that the guy's playing through injury. I should be happy with whatever Bryce Harper is able to give. I know he hasn't hit a home run in literally a month, okay? That's a big drought for Bryce Harper. August 9th, I think it was, his last home run. So he's rounding first base. He busts it. He makes it to second base just barely. If they're able to corral that baseball, he's tagged out at second, and then it's just a single with a put out at second, stretching for second. He should have been standing on third. If you're going to play, it ain't your legs that are hurting, bruh. It's your elbow, it's your wrist. You can bust it. It's literally the one thing that you can really, really do right now. And you don't need to use any of your upper body. It's pretty incredible the way that works. And instead, he barely makes it to second base. Should have been on third base. And then, wouldn't you know it, Bryson Stott then comes up with 2 outs and puts a single into left field. That would have scored Bryce Harper. And I know, as I mentioned, and I am acknowledging I am a psycho for being pissed off at this, but if I'm going to watch a Phillies game where they're down 10-0, I at least want to see the players bust it a little bit, especially when you're in danger of splitting with the Miami Marlins. And you already have an L in this series. So Harper doesn't do it. He doesn't bust it. He's at second base barely. And then the offense was just terrible after that. So to recap the 3 things here. Number 1, Seth Johnson, beaten badly. Number 2, Kyle Schwarber getting doubled off. What the hell, bro? Number 1, Bryce Harper. I know you thought it was out, but keep on running, man. You got to keep on running. If you're going to play, I know you're trying. I really know you're trying to power through all this, but that was weak. That was weak as hell. And I'm going to go with a champion. Those are going to be my top 3 contenders. Then I'm going to go with a champion here. The champion is the ability to still play down to this team overall. And I know they killed him 16-2, and that was incredible, and that was so much fun. And I know the Eagles were playing at the same time, and I know a lot of people caught up on that later, but that was a lot of fun. I really thought that this Phillies team, after winning 4 of their first 4 games, going 4-0 in their first 4 games on this road trip, that they were at least going to come home with a very convincing road trip. 5-1 at worst. 5-1 at worst. I knew one of these games was going to be a dud. I thought that was going to be last night's game. And then they were like, hold my beer last night's game. We're going to even give you less of an effort in today's game. And I know they got guys banged up, and I don't want to look at injuries and all that stuff because you still got Kyle Schwarber in the lineup. You still got Nick Castellanos in the lineup. You still got Bryce Harper, even though he's banged up in the lineup. You still had one of your aces supposedly on the hill last night. He didn't have it. And then you had a big league debut today, and that went terribly. The other guys on this team need to pick it up. Now you got the Rays. You're going to play down to the Rays too, because the Rays aren't a great baseball team. What are you going to do next? The Mets are going to be continually getting better and better and better, and it ain't going to be much easier. Looking ahead to getting on that flight, are you? After being in Canada and then Miami? Like, literally, you couldn't, spanning the entire United States, top to bottom. Not left to right. Not West Coast. Not East Coast to West Coast, but top to bottom. All right. When we come back, we'll take a look at one of the other guys, a little piece of history. We'll get into that. We'll also get your comments a little bit later in the show. That was a long opening segment, a lot to vent. I'll be back in a second. Locked On Sports Philadelphia on the Locked On Phillies postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Back in a second. Let me tell you guys about the amazing, the incredible, the always amazing people at FanDuel. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and FanDuel has it all. When you're talking about who could be winning the World Series, talking about who could be leading the league in home runs, you're talking about it all with FanDuel. Hopefully, you're taking advantage of all they have to offer on FanDuel with the incredible offer they have going on right now. Listen to this. When it comes to FanDuel, FanDuel is doing something special. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. And if that's not enough, FanDuel also has something special for our listeners and our viewers this weekend. Be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the FanDuel app and use FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all Sunday games today. How about that? All Sunday, the September 8th, that's the day, pregame money line bets, Profit Boost will be live starting this past Friday. So all through the weekend. It's pretty amazing. View your account page now to learn more about your boost on FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. Download America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel on FanDuel.com. Thanks once again for making Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On Sports, Locked On Phillies postcast your first listen today. Your second listen, enjoy Locked On MLB with host Paul Sully Sullivan. He's here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the Major League Baseball playoffs. Just around the corner, get ready and prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Little piece of history today. You want to know how today went? Buddy Kennedy made his Phillies debut. Here's why this is fantastic. In case you don't know this story already, he came up with the Tigers, I believe it was, then came over to the Phillies. And when he went over to the Phillies, he called his grandfather and he said, Pawpaw, or whatever he calls his grandfather, guess what? I'm playing for the Phillies. And his grandfather said, no way, no way, no way. Are you serious? That's incredible. Now, why does that matter? Because his grandfather is Don Money, which is a great name, but he played for the Phillies in the late 60s and early 70s, played for the Phillies for 5 years before going on to the Milwaukee Brewers, I think it was, for, 13 years, where he was a 3-time All-Star. Now his grandson put on the same uniform that he put on. How incredible is that? In all the BS of today, at least we have a feel-good story. How about that, huh? Isn't that wonderful? Phillies are going to come back to town tomorrow, and they're going to take on the Rays for 3 games before they host the Mets for 3 games. After this 10-1 loss to the Miami Marlins, Phillies are going to try to regroup and get back on track. 85-58, by the way, on the season right now for the Phils. They'll get things underway at 6:40 tomorrow night for their 3-game series against the Rays, and making that start for your Philadelphia Phillies will be Christopher Sanchez, then Ranger Suarez. We'll get the Tuesday start, then Zach Wheeler. All 3 games against the Rays are going to be 6:40 start times, and then against the Mets Friday, Saturday, Sunday across that weekend, it'll be a 6:40 start time, 4:05 start time, 1:35 start time. You have games every day but Thursday this week. So the Phillies will have an off day on September 12th. That'll be Thursday. But as for tomorrow night's matchup, Christopher Sanchez, like I said, will get the ball, and he'll be taking on Jeffrey Springs, left-handed pitcher. I think he's coming off the 15-day IL. Had some elbow fatigue that he was dealing with. Oh, no, excuse me. He was placed on the IL today. Jeffrey Springs, left-handed pitcher, but he won't be facing the Phils, so the Rays have yet to make the announcement as to who will be making that start against the Phillies for tomorrow. As for everything else, looking at the way the Phillies could be shaping up, I would hope that coming home, where the Phillies have been absolutely incredible so far this season, that will be the shot in the arm that they need after maybe leaking a little oil or leaking a little gas at the end of this road trip. So we'll all keep our fingers crossed that shot of home cooking will be exactly what they need before things really get serious again when they have 7 games against the Mets between now and the end of the year. We'll be back and take your comments and how you guys are feeling about the Phils after the unfortunate ending of this road trip. Back in a few. Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On Phillies postcast. Oh, I really hope you guys are having an amazing time when it comes to the great people of eBay Motors. Passion, drive, excellence, everything when it comes to making your ride or die the absolute best it could be, then you look no further than eBay Motors. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you always find exactly what you're looking for with eBay Motors. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. That's ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. All right, let's see how you wonderful people are feeling after this, not so great end to the road trip. John Marinelli, what's going on? How are you? If the Phillies don't care, why do we? Yeah, how about that? IBH, I'm at a loss. Jekyll and Hyde. Well, here's the deal. They stink against the Marlins. Like the fact that they're, still 1 game over 500 after splitting this series against them? I think is how that went. Yeah, 1 game over 500 against the Marlins this year after splitting. I was really hoping this was going to be, 7-6. 7-6 against the Marlins. I know I tell you guys this a lot, but oh my goodness gracious. One of the best things I ever heard was from Jason Stark, and it's that the NL East often comes down to whoever beats the crap out of the Marlins and the Nationals. The beating the crap out of the Nationals part, got that. They got that down to a science, right? Beating the Marlins, though, not so much. Not so much. Steve Lang, did I miss them clinching the division? No, you did not. No, you did not. John Marinelli, I turned it off at 8-0. I regret nothing. And then you enjoyed your football Saturday or football Sunday. Excuse me. Frank, what's going on? Offensive offense. I get it. I get what you're saying. Yolanda, what's going on? Didn't have a good feeling about this one and yesterday's game. Nola. Yeah, not ideal. And this is why they won't win jack this year either. Thank you, Timothy. I'm going to have to go up and look at what their record was against the Marlins in 2008. I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. Skyler, hello. Are you serious? I thought this team was playoff ready. Clearly, we are not. For the people on the podcast, that was clearly we are not in all capital letters. IBH, Hail Caesar. Christopher Michael, pure crap. 9 runs in 2 1/3 innings pitched. We started the game with no chance. Yep, yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. IBH, clearly we don't have a 5th starter, and hopefully Ranger recovers his velocity. Yeah, that was a little scary. Despite the fact that we gave you 5 scoreless with a Jamie Moyer fastball. Existentialism tyrant. Pathetic. Just hope everyone is back and healthy for the playoffs. Yeah, just get healthy. Just get healthy. Spurger King, hello. Spencer Turnbull, where are you? I don't know. Remember that guy? That was fun when we had him. I'm honestly pretty terrified the Phillies are about to slump again. I don't read so good. We better win this series against Tampa. Yeah, win both these series. Here's the thing. We've talked about it before, but it's worth mentioning again. The Phillies now, like I said, have 7 games remaining against the New York Mets. The Mets have been playing a much better baseball as of late. Much better baseball as of late. And I know everyone before wanted to talk about London and how much London killed the Phillies and all that stuff. Well, the Mets figured it out in London. So London might not have been that bad. The Mets fortunately lost today. They're 78-65 on the season. They lost to the Reds 3-1 today. But the Phillies got 7 games left against the Mets. They got a 3-game series coming up in Milwaukee against the Brew Crew. Hey, these are 10 games in not that many games left. They also have 3 against the Cubs, who are not I don't consider a juggernaut of a team by any means, but they can certainly get hot. And I don't know why this isn't coming up. But the Phillies have so many different opportunities to show that they could still be one of the best teams in baseball. And I know that's just certainly what their record shows. But right now you're looking at different things with this Phillies team that just can't get consistent. Yeah, so you got 3 against the Rays, 3 against the Mets, go to Milwaukee for 3 against the Brewers, and then go to New York for 4 against the Mets before you play your final 6 games of the season with 3 against Chicago and then 3 in Washington against the Nationals. Yeah, the Cubs, as I said, are only 73-70, so that's the way that goes right now. But yeah, there's a long way to go for the Phillies to get back on track. KGB officer Spurgeon King. Yeah, I remember when Turnbull first went out against the Tigers, he said, I should be back within a week or 2. That was a while. Lisa Wicks, what's going on? I don't know what to think right now. They blow out a team, and then they can't buy 2 games. It's happened before. It ain't great, folks. But you know what I do appreciate? I appreciate you wonderful people. That's what I appreciate. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzad. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow night after the Phillies hopefully take care of business against the Tampa Bay Rays. Until then, have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your Sunday night. Enjoy your football and all that and more. Until then, make sure you like and subscribe to Locked On Sports Philadelphia. That's Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Appreciate you. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.